Hey, hey, hey. So it has been a minute since I have done a podcast, or at least since one's been posted. Now, in my defense, I have attempted several times, and once it was cut off midstream. Also, rather than doing podcasts, due to time constraints, I have focused on single topic, shorter videos. Uh, and I, I want to. I was going to do the Rambling Podcast number 42 exclusively live on Rumble, but I can't. I'm not able to go live on Rumble. So I am probably going to go live exclusively on X or Twitter for the next one. Although I may add another platform to it, it is highly unlikely I will be doing the podcast live on the Tube of You. They are ramping up their stuff, their censorious practices. I believe it's because it's election season. So there's that. But I will still be posting the podcast to YouTube. It simply just won't be live. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're not watching it live. Also, I don't do great with responding to uh, user messages, user comments. I get distracted. I really need a co-host for that. Uh, so I may very well try to start scheduling something with a co-host. I do have plans for a stream coming up here soon with a co-host or a guest. It won't be a rambling podcast. Well, it'll be a rambling podcast. It just won't be the rambling podcast. And he's a good dude. He's from California, but I don't hold that against him. We are rather different and rather similar. Makes it entertaining. Very non-political though. Would love to have political debates with someone whom I don't agree with that I can actually debate with and not, you know, hurt someone's feelings. Political talk has gotten very personal lately, sadly. Anyways, so I've got two news articles to go over. One that is a little troublesome, that's a bit annoying, and one that is safe and fun and silly. Like, you may not like it, but it's not going to bother you. Maybe annoying at the worst. I want to do a historical topic on something that is controversial and a historical topic on something that is super safe, suitable for work. Possibly read a non-political political speech by a celebrity, and then a quiz. And I got some jokes. So we are going to start with rolling a dice. And boom. Well, looks as though going to start with a lovely article by Britannica, which I think is Encyclopedia Britannica. But yeah, it oh, fucking, I guess encyclopedias aren't really a thing anymore. So, boom. Was Johnny Appleseed a real person? Hmm. Interesting, I think. Um, so the reason why I'm on this topic is my beautiful, amazing, two of my beautiful, amazing children. They live in a particular town in the North Midwest that has a park dedicated to Johnny Appleseed. And I think people have claimed that his grave is there, but I don't know that. I didn't do enough research, but it is an awesome little park, and it is where one of my daughters graduated high school at. Lovely, lovely park in a great looking town. Very nice place. Now, I'm sure it's got its issues, especially the weather, but it's a good looking town. I will say that. Also, I am drinking water so that I can maintain hydration. Uh, Now, because water has no nutrients or calories to stay healthy, I am chasing my water with diet soda, which is extremely healthy. So there's that. All right. Now, that's awful tiny. Do. Got it. All right. Look at that. Apparently, I can all kinds of edit, and I'll play with that at another time. But we're going to go with this setup here. All right. Now, this is from, as I said, Britannica. I think I'm repeating myself here. Anyways, American folklore is populated with larger than life heroes. But for those of us who have been out of school a long time, it can be difficult to remember which ones are fictional concoctions and which are real historical figures. Gotta fly. Who have over time come to be credited with fanciful deeds. Paul Bunyan, the gigantic lumberjack, fiction. Daniel Boone, the frontier explorer, actually a real person. But I've always fucking heard, oh, Daniel Boone fought in the Alamo. No, Daniel Boone was like 83 when the Alamo happened. Uh, I used to work at Daniel Boone's Hotel. Uh, it's a place. He traveled through that part of the country, and there's a little hotel. It's like a 4-star hotel. They say it's 5-star, but it's not been 5-star in years. Very fancy place. But yeah. Now, John Henry, the steel driver, raced a big machine. Not real, but it was based on a real person or multiple people. But because John Henry was a colored person, as they would have said back in the day, the politically correct people would have said back in the day, because he was a black dude, it's not exactly like they gave a shit what his name was, and he's disappeared. So, Johnny Appleseed, the outdoorsman who is said to have traveled on foot across the United States planting apple trees. He was a real person. Although there are a few aspects of his life that have been mythologized over time. Now, it's been a little while since I was a young kid, uh, and I did spend a majority of my childhood in Europe, so I didn't get a lot of the cool guy American tales, folk legends. Although I did spend a substantial amount of my childhood in Texas, so I know all about Pecos Bill. Shot all the stars in the sky. Rode a cyclone. Pecos Bill. Pretty fun stuff. Boy Scouts in Texas was amazing fun. Great camps. But Boy Scouts in Germany was way, way better. Not because it was in Germany, because there were no American civilians. So every scoutmaster and every person helping was a soldier. And when it comes time to shoot a rifle, well, M16s are rifles. Let's shoot those. That'll be fun. We can get it signed off by First Sergeant. Hell, it's for Boy Scouts. Yeah. So while Texas, I'm sure Germany would be a great place to have Boy Scouts, just as it is in the States. But that's not what we got. It was totally cool. But Johnny Appleseed makes me think of Pecos Bill, which makes me think of Texas, which makes me think of the amazing summer camp I had and all the great times. There are so many good caves and so Johnny Appleseed, right? Yes, some aspects of his life were mythologized over time. And John Chapman is his real name, right? Now, he was born in Massachusetts in 1774. Now, since I'm going to read this and I need to take the camera off me for a moment. Here we go. John Chapman was born in Massachusetts in 1774. Now, little is known about his early life, except his mother died when he was young, and that his father fought in the American Revolutionary War. He planted his first apple tree nurseries in Allegheny Valley in Pennsylvania. Very famous place. About 1798, and then began traveling west through Ohio, planting as he went, walking for miles every day and sleeping outdoors. He kept well ahead of the pioneers, showing a knack for predicting where they would settle and planting nurseries in those spots. Now, it is important to note the apple trees Chapman planted mostly were cider apples, not the dessert and cooking varieties that most of us are accustomed to in grocery stores, like Macintosh. Although, to be fair, I think most of us, well, most of you bastards, are much more accustomed to apples like your phones or your really crappy laptops that are overcharging for subpar quality. Sorry, I'm not an eye sheep. But as I was saying, yeah, it was mostly ciders, apples. Now, cider apples are small and they're not good to eat, but they can be used to produce hard cider, which is the only cider I know of. Like growing up, we didn't say hard cider or soft cider. Cider was fucking cider, right? Apple cider had booze in it, just a thing. Now, it is a staple of the American diet at the time because pioneers didn't always have access to sanitary drinking water and apple juice will spoil. apple cider will just get better. Within Chapman's lifetime, oral accounts of his activities began to circulate. Most of these focused on his wilderness skills and his remarkable physical endurance. He was also memorable for his eccentric clothing. Instead of a shirt, he wore a sack with holes for his head and arms. On his feet were worn out shoes or no shoes at all. True to his nickname, which emerged in his lifetime, he carried a bag of apple seeds. Now, he was a devout follower of the mystical teachings of the Swedish theologian Emanuel Swedenborg, proselytizing and distributing Swedenborg's writings as he traveled. Now, uh, I'm not going to go down the entire rabbit hole of who Swedenborg is, but he was a theologian and a scientist. Uh, he was he was a pluralistic, I believe is how you put it. Basically, he was like one of the first real non-denominationals uh, of the country, or you know, Christian non-denominationals, uh, which is a good thing. His critics would say he would pick and choose the better parts of each religion to bring in more people, but maybe he's just kind of an optimist. Either way, not a bad dude, but anytime you bring up religion, there's people who are like, I disagree with that. And it's like, well, you're a bigot. Like, okay. I mean, shit. John Calvin's a pretty cool dude, but you just bring him up and it causes all kinds of debates in the religious communities. Anyways, this is why it's the rambling podcast, not the clear and concise podcast. Anyways, he mostly was out there proselytizing for Swedenborg, right? Talking to the rugged pioneers about God's love and being kind to people and animals, even rattlesnakes, right? Because one cool thing about Swedenborg, and I always thought he took this from, you know, a little bit of Taoism. Uh, the life of religion is to do good. Now, whatever you can agree and disagree with, as far as that goes, the idea of you should do good things, come on. That's an idea that we all need to spread a little more. Anyways, pretty weird for a dude running around the frontier to be like, hey, be good to animals. And it's like, no, I'm going to fucking beat this mule and make it carry my shit as far as I can. So now, I always heard he went the whole country back and forth, right? In 1845, he died in Fort Wayne, Indiana, having planted trees as far west as Illinois, which is pretty damn far. Because where did he start out? Massachusetts? Pretty damn far, man. Pretty damn far. An idealized portrait of his life soon began to take shape, in which Johnny Appleseed served as a kindly, benign symbol of the European settlers' conquest of the American continent. This first version reached the nation in an 1871 article in Harper's New Monthly magazine. Now, this is 71. He died in 45. Quick math, right? That's, what, 16 years? Wait. 45 plus 15. Yeah, okay. The article was written by preacher and journalist W.D. Haley, who's a pretty cool dude, but there have been some bad things said about him. But that's because you can't talk about religion and not get shit on by a significant number of people. Now, there were significant departures from the facts of Chapman's life in the article, and others that came after it just went further and further from the truth. It was commonly asserted that Chapman was trusted and respected by the natives he encountered, and even revered by them as a kind of white medicine man. No, not true at all. He did not have a great relationship with the natives. Although, while most white travelers had horribly vicious, interactions of people fucking with each other, like, not good. His interactions were mutually suspicious, right? He sometimes had some issues where he would narrowly escape, but he did not engage in violence with the natives. And if violence was introduced, he would flee. So, yeah, putting it as, oh yeah, loved and respected, that's a nice positive spin, but not true. In 1948, man, that's some spicy water. In 1948, Walt Disney, the documentarian who never changed any facts ever, produced an animated version of the life of Johnny Appleseed that further solidified his idealized image for the new post-war America. Disney version emphasized his Christian faith, depicting him as striking out in the wilderness, armed only with a Bible and a bag of apple seeds. The cartoon avoided mentioning that Chapman was a Swedenborgian and not a follower of mainstream Christian denomination. Although it's not entirely off that he was mostly a missionary. In fact, if he were a mainstream, normalized, Christian, probably wouldn't have gotten the slip, as one would say. Now, I have no issues with Swedenborgian religion, right? I think it is lovely. It is very, very much a good, positive thing that has a good influence on people. Whenever you get into the down and dirty, like, yeah, there's always things. It basically, to just sum it all up, do good in accordance with the truth of your religion, and you'll be accepted into heaven, because God is goodness himself. Now, that's a pretty cool, right? I like that. I like that mentality. Like, try to do good. Not even in a religious sense, just try to be a good person. Yeah. Now, the issue is when people start getting into doctrine and, as a Christian group, clearly, people would quote the Bible at them. It is not by good works alone, and various things. And yeah, discussing doctrine and theology with someone whom you disagree with, or not that you disagree with, that you don't see eye to eye on. I unfortunately had to. So I had an employee, great dude. He is a Jehovah's Witness. Now, I am not a Jehovah's Witness. And I know that there are people that have wonderful and terrible things to say about the Jehovah's Witness faith. And I am not concerned on that at all. I am talking about an individual person. He is a very good person. He is a very respectful, kind, polite, open-minded person. And he and I would have long discussions that were very insightful, and we weren't aggressive or challenging each other. We would simply, I would share my thoughts on something and then listen to his thoughts on something. And then I would look at the things we can agree on and then ask questions to get insight and learn from each other. And, it was nice. Turns out we had to let him go because he had just finished a many year sentence because he apparently had robbed some banks. And he had found his faith while in prison. And I love that. I am very, very proud of him. And I fought for him, and my boss fought for him. But because money was involved, the corporate owners would not allow him to maintain his employment. But I am very much confident that he will continue his hard work and success. So, yeah, discussing religion is a little touchy because these are things that are personally held. Now, I have deep religious beliefs that I hold that are my own. And if I ever start applying my beliefs to someone else's actions, then I'm in the wrong. My faith is mine. My lack of faith is mine. My beliefs and my disbeliefs, they are mine. Now, as far as how I will interact and judge people's actions for the world is worldly morality, right? Murder, bad. All reasonable people can agree killing someone is bad. Now, it happens. Sometimes we have to do it. And when we do, it is something that we should address on a sense of morality that is broad spectrum. Now, I will deal with my sins, my foibles, my failures, based on my beliefs. But I will not hold someone else to my beliefs. That's not fair. I don't agree with it. And you can very much tell me why I'm wrong. And you could have very valid points and you could even be correct. But I'm not going to hold someone else to my beliefs. I think if we all did that, I think there'd be a little less hate amongst us. I'm not saying it'd make the world a better place, but I think there'd be a little less hate. Hate to do this, but I'm going to give you a blank screen for just a moment. Daisy, baby. Oh, I know. You got a potty. Yeah. Sorry about that. My beautiful, sweet little darling. My shockingly quiet half Chihuahua, half Jack Russell. Yeah, I don't know how she's quiet, but she had to potty. And jumping up, walking across there. You don't need to see that. Anyways, on the same topic of what we can't judge too harshly. Now, I'm a big fan of Taoism. I would not say it's my religion because it's not, but I believe as a philosophy, as a belief, as a practice, there is nothing in it that prevents me from following my religion and learning and progressing from Taoism teachings. So, with that, very important and valid. Wow, how the hell does that fucking get tangled up? Motherfuckers. With that very important and valid demand to hold off on evil, harsh judgment. I have important things to say. No thanks. All right, now this is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's divine, because that's just unfair and just calls into debate when it's not. I mean, there's no debate here. This is just the most important message I could give anyone. Just a list of, it's even more than religion. This is just the universe demanding I share these truths. I have spent a lot of time, money, and energy childproofing my home. And these damn kids still get in. Yes, that's right. Big build up while I was fucking on a thing to get my dad jokes. I know. You're welcome. But why is it a bad idea to iron your 4-leaf clovers? Right? You know, people, they get flowers and they press them. Right? Put them in a book. Why is it wrong to do that with 4-leaf clover? Why? Because you should never press your luck. Why is it the vampires are so pale, ghostly, and they just look so sick? Because they always coffin. Coffin? They sleep in a coffin? Now, this one may be offensive to stupid people. There is a word, Eskimo. Now, I am aware that people use that word stupidly, but they're like, oh, you got to change. They can't use that word anymore. They're not Eskimos. They're, what is it? They always name a tribe. They're not Eskimos, they're Inuit. Well, a lot of Eskimos are Inuit. But that would be like saying the word Indian is offensive. They're Navajo. Well, one, I don't use the word Indian. I go with native. But yeah, all natives aren't Navajo. Some are. So yeah, Eskimos basically just native for that particular region. Then Inuits are included in that. So there. I know with all that trouble about the names, how does an Eskimo keep his house together? It glues it together. Igloo. I know he needs strength. But what are the strongest days? Saturday and Sunday. Why? Why are they the strongest days? Because all the others are weekdays. Ah. You know what you got to do when it rains cats and dogs? Be careful not to step in a poodle. All right, that's all silly. But I do know terrible childhood memory. When I was a kid, my dad got fired from his job as a road worker for theft. I refused to believe he could do such a thing. But when I got home, the signs were there. The signs, right? Double entendre. All right. Last one for now. We all know about Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But have you heard about Cole's Law? Well, it's thinly sliced cabbage with a bunch of other dumb shit put on. Fucking, they use it in sauerkraut. Murphy's Law, Cole's Law, coleslaw, coleslaw. You know what? Fuck you. I don't hear you laughing because you have no sense of humor. Actually, I don't hear you laughing because it's not live for most of you. All right, that was all silly and fun. Let's fucking read the shitty negative article. The one that I pushed off so it wouldn't happen early on, because there will be language used that will get this fucking shit on by most platforms, which is dumb. Because, I mean, maybe it won't, but I know me. I know how I ramble. So, yeah. All right. Salt Lake City School District has decided the weapons detectors, or metal detectors for the rest of us, are racist. Yes, the school board said that. Now, I have to give credit to the Publica. Pretty cool website. Natasha Biasi wrote this. Now, I am going to read from this and paraphrase some and ramble on and off. Let me see. Sorry, I'm playing with this whole thing. Yeah, that'll work. I don't know why there's two. You know what? Fuck it. Yes, discard changes. This might work a little better. Yeah. Boom. I'm going with that. What will I name this? I had a. Yeah, that's all right. But let me change the background. Do something a little more. Yeah. That's kind of cool. No. Yeah. I'm going to go with that one at the moment. Except for this one. Right. Like I said, that's what I'm going with. Stop arguing, man. All right. Now I know that's not the best, but at least you can see the article. So the Salt Lake City School District, their decision to install metal detectors in its high schools has raised concerns among parents and school board members. So the school district said weapons, metal detectors to detect weapons. I'm on board. Yeah, let's keep weapons out of schools. I gotcha. School board is against it because they think it will disproportionately affect visible minorities. How? How will weapons detection affect disproportionately any group of people? It's not to detect who is doing what. It's no metal coming in without us checking it. Now, if there's a policy of, oh, if the fucking metal detector dings, uh, we will fucking click on it or we'll grab this motherfucker and strip search him as long as he's this skin, he or she's this skin color. Yeah, that's shitty. But otherwise, no, it doesn't disproportionately affect anybody. It's fucking weapons. See, this is the same bullshit with Dungeons and Dragons, right? The policy's not racist. The people arguing against it are racist, right? So, Dungeons and fucking Dragons. Great fucking game. It teaches problem-solving skills to kids, which I assure you is desperately fucking needed. Just try being in management, having a day off, and all these fucking kids call, oh, the ice machine is empty. What do I do? You tell customers there's no ice. It appears as though the coffee machine is down and we can't make coffee. What do I do? You tell the customers, shit, sorry. Coffee machine's down. There's no coffee. Right? Like, congratulations. I'm just going to tell you, yeah, cool. Say what you said to me, to the customers. So yeah, D&D teaches problem-solving skills. To bitch about young people again. I got about half a tank of gas. Okay. How much does a gas tank hold? 20 gallons. Okay. So you got about 10 gallons gas. Gotcha. What's your gas mileage? 25. Okay. How far you got to go? 300 miles. All right. Cool. So you got 10 gallons, 25 miles a gallon. You can go, what, 250 miles? So yeah, you're going to need to get at least 10 gallons of gas. Fill up that gas tank, kid. Well, I mean, I was thinking, all right. $10x equals 25 times 100, right? Just work it out as it's a fucking algebra problem. I'm like, oh yeah, x is this. Okay. So you know the math, you just don't know how to apply it to the real world. Like, come on, man. You learn these formulas and you never learn how to use them in the real world. That's why you need to teach math with word problems. There needs to be more fucking word. I hate word problems. Yeah. There's a reason why. It's fucking annoying and a pain in the ass. But why do 100 fucking math problems of plug these numbers into the formula? How about you do that like 25 times? 25 times you ought to have it down. At least got a good practice session in. And then 5. Apply it to real stuff. Real world stuff. You know, it's like having a fucking West Point lieutenant is a platoon sergeant or is a platoon leader? Well, the book says da, 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 da. So da, 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 da. And then the platoon sergeant's like, yeah, actually, like, calm down with your fucking. Now, I'm an educated person, and I see value in education, and I thrive to become more and more educated every day. I'm simply saying that education that's not being applied in real world scenarios is nothing more than memorizing football stats. It's cool, but useless. Sorry, my ramble within a ramble of a fucking article. All right, so let's get back to the fucking first ramble. Metal detectors are racist. They're going to disproportionately affect minorities. A metal detector is a machine that detects weapons coming into the school. That doesn't disproportionately affect anybody other than people who are bringing weapons into the school. Fact. Now, to argue that it disproportionately affects, let's go with black people. What you are saying is that you believe black people bring more weapons in. The metal detectors are not racist. You are being racist. You are. And I know 5013 stats and all that. Got it. Cool. But that's misleading and slightly dishonest. You would have to, first of all, the country's a very big place. Looking at, broad topics, yes, it does give you some insight into some stuff. But you got to get a little more specific, right? Let's look at this location, crime, stats, right? Base it by race, base it by age, base it by poverty level, right? And then go to this location, age, race, poverty level. And you will see that race is not the determining factor. Age and poverty level is. The poor people in a rural community tend to be the ones that create these statistics. And the impoverished people in an urban setting tend to be the ones who create that statistic. Now, when you base it on race, inside that location and economic level, it's pretty close to the same. Poor white people and poor black people in San Antonio produce that statistic at the same level. Poor people and white people produce that statistic in Portales, New Mexico. So It's simply a numbers game that people like to use to push an argument one way or the other. Well, this many people are this. It shows corruption in the system. Oh, well, this many people are this. It shows they're creating that statistic. Well, both of those are accurate numbers, but both of those are misleading on some points. So take a big step back and quit trying to fucking cherry pick to argue. Maybe then we could actually solve some issues. But yeah, the argument was made that orcs in D&D are racist. Okay, why? Orcs have a racial commitment to be violent, and they're stronger and they're more athletic. Yes, this is true. And they are separated from humans. Yes, this is true. This also applies to other races in the world. I mean, orcs are typically, if I was going to say, as far as the cultural or social situation, I would say that orcs are generally treated as Middle Eastern Muslims are treated in the United States at various times. Also, the way Germans were treated by Americans at various times, Black people, obviously, at various times, the Japanese, right? Yeah, it definitely fits a group of oppressed people. They're being oppressed because of their, in the game, their race. Their people represent the enemy of that, of the standard humans. And the great thing about that is the enemy of humans, right? Not white, colonial, European, no, humans, which means all humans of all races can come together and see how orcs are, treated. And there's some valid reasons why orcs are treated that way. And it gives you empathy and understanding at the situation of encountering that in the real world with a race or a religion or a cultural identity being ostracized. I mean, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. And I'm not going to say that's the plan, but that's the side effect. Generally, your interactions with orcs are twofold, right? You have to fight them because they are evil, violent, not evil, but from your side, they're evil, violent motherfuckers who are trying to stop you from completing your fucking mission, your quest. They're the enemy. Just like kobolds. Just like all these other races that are enemies. Or rather than race, let's go with species. All these other species. But the reason why they single in on orcs is because an interesting thing happened. Right? See, elves were the, black people or Asian people or Muslim people, the ones who they're like us, but they're uh, ostracized by large parts of society. Like that's written into the fucking lore of the game. Orcs, people were like, let's play as, yeah, you can be a half orc because they saw something in orcs that were like, hey, there's some benefits here, like big, strong, yeah. But the downside is you have to suffer these penalties, and the DM is gonna fucking make everybody treat you like shit. Everyone's scared of you, right? And years goes by, you play that way, or your buddy plays it, and you see that, and it's like it really became a wow. That's how gay people feel, or that's how black people feel, or that's how white people feel, or that's how Muslims feel, or that's how Jews feel, or that's how Seventh Day Adventists feel, or oh, that's how, depending on where you're at, what your town or your culture, your group of friends, whatever it is, you know someone as a fucking, that's my buddy Bob. And then you see how Igthar is getting shit on by everybody. And it's like, come on, come on. And then you go home and your dad or your mom is like, can you believe they are letting so and so? It's like, you know what? Leave him alone. Leave Igthar alone. He just wants to dance. That's a good thing. Yeah, all these motherfuckers are like, yeah, we need to remove orcs because it's a racist trope of black people. No, it's not. That's you projecting your racism onto orcs. Orcs are an ostracized, half orcs are an ostracized attacked group that we all see them, we empathize with them, but we still empathize with the people that are shitting on them. Right? Because if the problem with elves was they made elves, oh, we're great and awesome, and evil racist people attack us. Oh. So it's obvious that anyone that's like, stupid knife ears can't. And it's like, oh, he's a racist character. Got it. But then with orcs, it's like, no, I'm not racist, but his people have done this and this and this. I mean, it's in his blood. Sound familiar? So now you're not just attacking like, oh, you're a racist. Let me tell you why you're an evil racist. No, now you have to actually fucking use real world interactions. You can't just go 10x plus 5. No, you have to be like, hey, look, your gas tank is this. So yeah, that's why I'm not a fan of, well, that symbolizes, okay, fine. In your mind, orcs symbolize black people. Got it. Why is that bad? Because orcs also symbolize Jews. And they also symbolize Hispanics. Ooh, if you're playing in Puerto Rico, they also symbolize Mexicans. If you're playing in Cuba, they represent Baptists, right? Just that group of fucking people where you just hate them. But he's okay. But still, they, no, no, no. He is a they. So you can't say they. They're like, well, he's all right, but they, nope, nope. Come on. Address your bias. Address your racism and learn. Maybe if Snoop Dogg played Dungeons and Dragons, he wouldn't be so fucking racist. He's a serious racist. Ah, sorry, I drink a lot of water. So back to the racist weapons detectors. So, school board approved funding for a 1-year contract with security firm Pal American to staff machines at several schools citywide. The anti-gun checkpoints were installed before students returned to school last month. News of the school district's plan to have these private security guards install and operate the weapons detectors sparked mixed reactions from parents. Right? Uh, this links to an article from NBC News, local news, right? The person at Uvalde got in through a back door that was not locked. So it's not about weapons detectors. It doesn't do anything. A lot of students have shown for that the cost of them and the hassle for students and the propensity for maybe even minority students to get hassled more than usual. And they're still not keeping kids safe. There's a middle of the road approach. Like any other parent, I'm terrified. I love my kids. I don't want them to get hurt. So Castile says he thinks they won't be effective. Gotcha. It's just going to cause black people to get harassed. Huh. I love it. As a parent who has 2 kids at this school, I think this is great just to try it out. But Castile, again, I think there's a lot of things we could spend our money on that would be a lot more useful. Maybe spending it on teachers getting training on mental health and detecting issues before they happen. How long will it take to get all the students through the detectors? Hey, if it takes 5 minutes, but we have peace of mind throughout, it's totally worth it. I want everyone's kid to have a good education. It's unfortunate we have metal detectors at school. All right. So, to react to Mr. Castile, I'm assuming it's Mr. because they said he. It's not racist. And if you think black kids are going to get harassed going through metal detectors more than white kids, you need to look at your own bias. And to defend Mr. Castile, the race card has been played on everything. A white kid in Wisconsin shoots 3 white people, and he's a white supremacist who hates black people. A black man runs for governor in California against a white man, and the black man is the white supremacist. I'm a well-traveled person of an age where I've had various discussions on race and how horrified I was in 1991 when I moved to the United States and learned that racism still existed. And I knew when coming back to the United States to visit, and you get those caricatures, super redneck jerks back in the 80s. And it's like, and they make those insensitive, stupid statements. And it's like, yeah, but in the rest of the world, no. And then suddenly it's like, oh, you're white. Yeah. In no fucking planet would I, is that 9, 10-year-old kid, be like, well, you're black. Like, never would have happened. It was like completely fucking. Now, some fucking dumb hillbilly redneck living in the backwoods making awful statements. It's like, they're stuck in 1955. But then an educated professional teacher starts making racist ass statements. And the whole time I'm like, if someone said that to a black person, I would be so pissed. I would go home and I would tell my parents. I would tell my teacher. Like, that's awful. Like, that's the. I can't imagine someone saying that to a black person. It's really weird they're saying that to me. It kind of feels like being in Europe and being attacked for being an American. Like, me and my black best friend, we did kind of hate Germans because they were so hateful to Americans. We bonded over so many things, but the we're both being attacked by Germans. I mean, they broke beer bottles in our fucking sandbox. You know, it was us against them. So maybe it's understandable that because of the past, that people of that age that are black might be a little racist against white people. But so I'll keep my mouth shut on that. But it's dangerous. I hope that, she doesn't teach her kids that. Then I'll find out, oh no. No, racism is real. It exists. this group hates this group hates that group. Like, holy shit, racism, totally a thing. Then as I got older, I realized, oh wait, it's not necessarily racism, it's groupism. Like the Germans hating the Americans, the black people in the West Coast hating Koreans, Koreans hating black people in Korea at the time. Fucking Chinese hating Filipinos, Filipinos hating Japanese, Japanese hating a lot. I mean, yeah, Jews hating Muslims, Muslims hating Jews, Baptists hating everybody, and everybody hating the Baptists. Also, Lutherans, like religion, race, nationality. Oh, walk up to your Mexican buddy and be like, yeah, man, El Salvador, that's same as Mexico, right? If he don't get pissed, repeat it to his grandmother. But yeah, young, dumb, isolated from America, but lumped in with some Americans that are getting shit on by everyone around us. And it's like, yeah, I can't wait to get back to America, where all of us Americans are like, yeah, we're Americans. We love each other. Shit, black, white, brown, I don't care. America. Fly that flag. Hell yeah. I love all my Americans. And then it's like, but I won't say her name, but Mrs. Teacher Lady. I just had an opinion on a socio-political scenario that involves Khrushchev and Kissenberg. Damn spicy water. But no, it's like, well, that's because you're white. No. No, because I got that opinion, which my parents disagree with. I got that opinion from one of my early mentors, a black dude from northern Mississippi, which is basically just Tennessee. I'm sorry, Jackson, Mississippi is just Memphis. Also, West Memphis, Arkansas is just Memphis. All right, the capital, I mean, just also don't say Memphis, Tennessee, just say Memphis, because Memphis is in 3 states. Well, 4 states if you count the state of mind. But yeah, taught me so much of my bedrock that would become my political beliefs. Now, me and him, he passed. He passed less than the month after the wall came down, Berlin Wall. in Germany. He passed in 9 or 8. He passed in December 89, January 90. He and I, if I go back in time, we don't agree on everything, particularly abortion. We would have very little, we would not agree. We would agree on the basic stance, but we would be on the opposite ends of the argument for the same fucking reason. Also, I have grown to adopt his stance on the Second Amendment. He was way, I'll admit, even as a young adult, I thought his theories on how gun control was just used to control black people. I thought that was crazy talk. Gun control is, I have learned, gun control is restricting a right that is specifically set up to prevent the government from restricting our rights. And I hope someday to apologize to him. Yeah, it's, if you think it's racist, it begs me to question why you think weapons detectors would be racist. Now, there's two ways to take that. Either you think black people are going to bring more weapons in. In that case, fuck you. If you believe that, then you have to admit you have a racist bias against black people. Now, you can have all your explanations and reasonings for it. You can give a very detailed, intelligent explanation on why you think that. And I may or may not agree with you, but it doesn't change the fact that that is a racial bias. You expect this race to behave in that way. It is a bias. Not all bias is wrong, but it is a bias. And we do need to be cognizant of our biases, right? I am more likely to judge this based on age, race, religion. And while you could be right 75 out of 70 fucking 9 times, you have to identify and acknowledge that you have a bias. Like, oh, we keep singling, like, I would never single out a Muslim person for a terrorist activity. Yes, you would. And statistically, you're not wrong. Like, let's just be real. Statistically speaking, yeah, it's a reasonable statistic to single someone out and pull them aside and give them an extra pat down. Yeah, I'm not arguing against that. That doesn't offend me. I don't like it, but yeah. Now, that does not mean that it's okay to fucking, well, they clearly are. No. A lot of police officers in urban settings that are minorities themselves end up developing racist tendencies. It's true. I am always fighting against my prejudices. I am a huge fan of Firefly, the TV show, greatest TV show of all time. And a lot of Firefly fans, they like to wear brown trench coats. They do. Now, being a big Firefly fan who knows brown coats are awesome. And then someone comes up to me and they're like, hey, I love Firefly. I'm a huge fan. I can quote every episode. Cool, you're a brown coat? No. I don't like brown coats. I would never wear a brown coat. I'm a fan of the TV show, not brown coats. I would automatically think they're not a real fan. They're faking it. But if I am able to identify and acknowledge that I do have a prejudice, then I am able to identify my reaction and allow that prejudice to help my interaction be better. Like this is a simple thing that everybody can and does, if they're being reasonable, agree with. Problem is, when you do that shit to virtue signal, right? Look, I get it. I am Muslim. My name is Allah Akbar. So I get it. You're going to fucking search. Give me an extra pat down. Fine. Just want you to know I am innocent of everything. And it's really annoying that you're singling me out because of that. And then they do the pat down. They're professional. They're fair. And would act as though it was anyone else they're patting down. Then go, all right, cool. Go on. How could they do that? By going, yeah, I did single him out for his identity. So I'm going to do the pat down as I would anyone else. And then I will be polite, professional, and efficient. Don't feel guilty. Don't fucking do the whole guilt trip. Oh, let's take down metal detectors because I feel guilty that I automatically thought of black people. Nah, how about you just fucking identify, yeah, I'm prejudiced. Everyone is. And then choose to act not racist. Here's a scenario. I am happily married to a wonderful, amazing woman who I would never, ever, ever cheat on. And I'm at work, and a vendor comes in to discuss the latest order, and she is gorgeous. I mean, she's got those curves, not all super skinny. She's got the curves in the right places. She's got the dimple when she, and the eyes, and I'm just like, whew. I am instantly thinking about her unclothed and various adult interactions. And I go, ooh, I love my wife. I am happily married. I'm not doing none of that. Oh man, I feel guilty. I feel bad that I saw a really pretty girl that fits all the things that I like in that manner. And I had a moment of lust filled fantasy. Now I feel guilty. I can't make eye contact with that whore. I can't talk to that whore. In fact, not only that, we shouldn't even let females into the fucking building because that is obviously fucking terrible. You're just parading these women around as though they're just there to blow me. Yeah, that's awful. It's the same general process. How about uh I love my wife. I would never, ever, ever want to cheat on her. My mind does sometimes go to, I wonder what her boobs like squeezed together with my manhood between them. That's on me. I can't apply that to everyone else. That was just me going, that girl's cute. Wonder what it looked like if I mushroom stamped her forehead. Or, oh man, I really like girls with shaved heads. I want to take my bald head and rub it against her bald head and see what sound it makes when our stubble just crunches. Whatever your thing is, right? Acknowledge, identify your thing, and don't allow that to influence how you interact with said person. That's my thoughts. That's my feelings. That's my fucking ramble. Mm. All right. We are not going to get to my controversial historical topic. But I am going to put it on the wish list again. Now, we are going to cover a news story. Then gonna roll the dice. Won't roll the die, but basically two-sided die. We're gonna make it a coin toss. Right? Now, quiz, speech. All right. How long are we on this? 136. Not bad. All right, so news article. R&B star Usher is going to headline the 2024 Super Bowl halftime show. Right? I dig Usher. It is an honor of a lifetime to finally check a Super Bowl performance off my bucket list, Usher said in a statement. I can't wait to bring the world a show unlike anything they've seen from me before. Love the from me before. Like, you're not going to give us shit we've not seen. But from me before. Now, debut album in 1994. He has sold over 80 million records. Now, Rihanna, her halftime show last year, it was all right. I will be honest. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Katy Perry, I was not pleased that she was going to do the halftime show. And it was actually pretty good. Like, I will admit, I was wrong about Katy Perry and Rihanna. I thought Rihanna, hell yeah, this is going to be great. Like, all things aside, her taste in men and her sweetheart, you're not a rapper. You're never going to be a rapper. You have a great, emotive, emotional voice that just, you've got a strength over a lot of others in the music category, but you keep doing stuff that you like that doesn't accentuate what you're best at, which kind of two-sided there. Like, fuck yeah, super impressed that you're not Whitney Houston, who just does what they tell her to do musically, because she had a lot more soul than she. Rihanna has no problem putting out a song that, by all means, is gonna fail or should fail, but she digs it. Good enough for her. All right, I respect that. But also, I really thought her halftime show was going to be like, and it was pretty good. I just thought it was going to be awesome. And it was pretty good. Now, Katy Perry, I thought it was going to be okay, and a lot of people would like it. No, Katy Perry, her show was pretty good. Was hers better than Rihanna? No, they were both pretty good. I thought Rihanna was going to be awesome or pretty good. I thought Katy Perry was going to be awful or okay. So, yeah, Rihanna put forth a good show, but I was kind of hoping for better. And Katy Perry put on a good show, and I was shocked. So, yeah, there you go. Uh, Usher. Usher. He is so much better than people now think. Usher is Bruno Mars. Like every fucking song. By the way, love Bruno Mars. Love Bruno Mars. It's not my style of music, but it's fucking good. It's very, very good. So I have to acknowledge how great Bruno Mars is. The stuff I kind of like and the stuff I don't like is still great in that category. And then he's got some stuff that just, well, never thought I'd be super into a Bruno Mars song. Usher, same exact thing. Like all the Bruno Mars songs in the beginning, I was like, dude, Usher's back. Oh, okay. Got it. All right. I'm going to close this out by reading a speech that I set aside and I pushed it off for multiple podcasts. It's not particularly applicable to this podcast, it's applicable to any podcast. Uh, I've not read this in a while. So, what I can say is, from my memory, this is a speech that I was taken aback by. It is 1967. Oh, I'm not gonna say who, but at least let me get the date. (1964). Now, this A very old celebrity read this in 1964, right? But it is from another celebrity. And was I'm going to go to the celebrities. Okay. So this is a speech from 1964. Um, but it is taken from a celebrity who didn't give it as a speech. He made a statement, not in front of an audience, but with pen and paper. All right. Also, if I get a little emotional, it's the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the most non-political speech you ever hear. And indeed, if you look for controversy, what I'm about to say conjures up little conflict. 1964, by the way. We have reached a moment in time when restless men, dispossessed men, angry and impatient men, and anguished men look up and reach out for an elusive justice, oft promised them, long denied them, but in the eyes of God and man's conscience is their due and should be their expectation. I say this in a non-political, non-controversial. We're not talking now about miscegenation or whether a man can fence his yard or a hot dog vendor carefully selects his customer or an innkeeper choose not to accommodate a particular traveler. These are ramifications of the problem. They are not the problem. There have to be some bridges built. But first, we have to acknowledge rivers. Now, this fits in fucking perfectly with what I was just talking about. And honestly, I wasn't planning on reading this speech. I was just going to end it. But I was like, fuck it. Let's do one more. The fact that this speech is what came up, yeah, seems fitting. We have to acknowledge the river. before we build that bridge. This is what I think is basic. This is what I believe to be the most common denominator in this spring of 1964. This must be first the recognition and then the admission that the dignity of human beings is not negotiable. The eminent worth of man has no pro and no con. And the desperate need for an understanding and a respect between all men is as fundamental as the process of breathing in and breathing out. On this spring night, we look toward Washington, D.C., and hear the echoed overtones of a debate. We watch the struggle to invoke a cloture. We hear the voices of the willful foot draggers and the hopeful sprinters as they trade and compromise and give battle for what they believe. But again, there is something happening on this earth transcendent of the senates, the governments, the temporal voices of the champions of the rights and the filibusters of wrong. By the way, the Democrats did a filibuster of gargantuan levels on Civil Rights Act. Democrat president, Republican Congress and Senate. No Democrats voted for it, but a Democrat presented it against his party. Just saying. This is something to shit on Democrats for and praise Democrats for. On this issue, you can't shit on Republicans at all. But there's lots of things you can shit on them for at other times. What is happening is that a whole world has suddenly become cognizant of its oneness. An idea of brotherhood has ceased to be an abstract. It has taken on a form and dimension and breadth and meaning, not breadth, but breadth and meaning. Every man's death diminishes me. A lyrical stab at truth from another century. But in this 1964th year of our Lord, every man's dignity, every man's hunger, every man's search for freedom, every man's life reinforces me and revitalizes me and rededicates me. We cannot be half free and half slave, Mr. Lincoln said. And now, 100 years later, we find that we cannot be half hungry and half content, half with dignity, half with shame, half with freedom, half with a simple yearning to be free, half with prerogatives, half asking for just a few, half superior and half denied the right to prove even equality. Fuck these muscle spasms. That's actually a really good stopping point, but I'm kind of a stubborn asshole. You cannot legislate human love. You ever heard that phrase? You cannot pass a law to stop people from hating. Also valid. That is a battle slogan of those who don't want to be bothered. A statement of philosophy from 20th century non-philosophers who would probably melt down the test tubes used to look for the microbes and bacteria and the viruses that cause cancer. Cancer is with us, so why fight it? Leave it to the individual patients. But don't make waves, don't stir the riverbed, and above all, don't contemplate the beauty of this earth, the deeds of love, the small, gradual, but inexorable move upward, the human animal toward an enlightened moment. In time, the person next door is the neighbor. The Negro is the darker neighbor. Oh, the South American's the Latin neighbor. And the Japanese is my Oriental neighbor. So I'm going to pause right there with Negro is now offensive. It's offensive because it was a term used as a polite fucking sorry. Negro was the polite term when racism was more accepted. So now Negro has become a term of racism. It's not. It never was. Negro was the accepted term. For non-racists, Dr. King used it. But racist times. Antebellum has been banned because that word is associated with if anyone who knows the meaning of the word is actually offended by it, I beg you to reach out to me and explain. Now, I'm not saying explain why people that don't know the meaning of the word are offended. No. Explain to me why you, knowing the meaning of the word, are offended by it. Rather than banning the word, why don't we educate what the word means? Negro, racist. Latin, according to white females, that's racist. Oriental, that's racist. I do use the word Oriental for I use the word Oriental for cultural when discussing culture or objects from parts of Southeast Asia. Now, I call Filipinos Asian, but they're not Asian. My generation we replaced Oriental with Asian because Oriental used to mean all slant-eyed, Uh, beautiful skin. Sorry, I never got the yellow. This don't know how to describe it. This honestly Greek skin tone with black hair, uh, squinted or slanted eyes. I could just go through the features and describe them positively, but that would just be racist apparently. But yeah, um, Asian. I go with Asian. My generation was taught to call them Asian. But then Indians and Pakistani, people from uh, Turkmenistan, right? These are people that are Asian by definition, but they're not included in the term Asian. Which, all right, who cares? Why? Why is that a big deal? Well, my mother's Native American. I don't like, when I say Native American, I mean actual Native American, not, oh, her great grand, she's 118th, so I'm 179th. And yeah, not the Elizabeth Warren bullshit. No, mom is Native. Her mom's Native. Like, you look at her and it's like, oh, are you Italian? Are you Indian? Are you, I mean, what are you? It's like, oh, I'm this tribe, that tribe. Oh, so you're Indian. Yeah. And I always thought, no, no, you're not Indian. Never been to India, wouldn't go to India, even though I fucking tried to drag you. And your people were never, no, no, no. All these years, I'm like, no, no. Cleveland Indians shouldn't change their name. They should just change their mascot to Gandhi. Yeah. Redskins, I stand by. That's a fucking racial slur. As soon as a fucking, as soon as an NFL team becomes the whatever spear chuckers, and everyone's like, yeah, that's cool, then I will say, fine, I'll accept the Redskins. Until then, fuck no. Been saying for 20 fucking years, nah, nah, shit ain't right. Now, Commanders, that's dumb. I will still call them the Skins. Just saying they should have named the team the Pigskins. Afraid of offending Jews or Muslims or vegans. A football is called a pigskin. Get over it. If you're Muslim or Jewish or vegan beliefs or faith, if the word pigskin offends you, then you shouldn't watch a sport where the ball is commonly referred to as a pigskin. My second choice was Red Tails. You don't have to change anything other than take off the native. And I mean, Red Tails Tuskegee Airmen. Show me a motherfucker that goes, ah, that's a stupid name. Oh, you don't want to honor the Tuskegee Airmen? No, I mean, just it's stupid that change it. All right. Absolutely. You think it's dumb they had to change the name. I agree. They shouldn't have to change the name. I hate the name Redskins. I think it's offensive. But I would always vote against making them change it. I just think they should. But tell me why Red Tails is bad. Tell me why that's not cool. You can't. You can't. Fucking Tuskegee Airmen. George Lucas may have made. I think it's a great movie. I love the Red Tails movie. Everyone's like, oh, special effects are trash. I just looked at it as here's a great story, great acting, great movie, and special effects, they're not great. But the story, the act, I mean, everything else is great. The special effects are most important. Like, don't say it's a shitty movie because of special effects. That's awful. No, go with, oh, it's a great movie. Those special effects suck. I'm like, you know what? Watching it, yeah, special effects do suck. Ah, damn. Went on such a side tangent. I was supposed to fucking read the speech. All right, now, again, I disagree with a lot of this, but some of you will agree, some of you will disagree on the method. Does not change. We can all agree, if you're reasonable, on the thoughts and feelings behind it. I chose this speech from a Bernie Sanders supporter who has been attacked by the left and the right. By the way, not a Bernie guy. I respect Bernie Sanders. I kind of like him sometimes, but I could not disagree more on a politico-social level more with anyone else. But on intentions and beliefs and all this and that, I get it. But this is a speech from a Bernie supporter that I love, I cherish, and I agree with a lot. And the parts I disagree on, I still agree on the feeling behind. You can't legislate against prejudice. Well, you can't in a lot of ways. You would rather perhaps accept it as part of the innate personality of the Homo sapien. You would rather say that it's with us, it's here to stay. It's part of the social phenomenon of our time. If this is the premise to be lived with, accepted, and God help us embrace, then let us throw away theology. Let us unencumber ourselves from the premise of God. Let us tear up our art, our literature, all of our culture, and let us retire to a rubble of our own making and manufacture barbed wire instead of stained glass. Ugh. That is a beautiful, beautiful, emotional, offensive statement. If that's how it is, then tear up our culture, abandon our gods. Woo, woo. That is a beautiful statement, but it is a statement that pushes people away and makes them go, ah, fuck you. You hate God. You hate art. You hate this. You hate, right? So, yeah, I get it. It's saying, so you can't legislate against prejudice. You can't. You can't make laws to stop racism or prejudice. You can't make laws against prejudice. No matter how noble or good intentioned you are, any law you make to not be prejudiced is a violation for you. Now, make a law against refusing service to a person based on this. I will stand up and I will sign that paper. I will vote for that bill. Tell me that schools or jobs cannot take your race or religion or gender into consideration for a job. I will vote for that bill. I will sign that paper. But you can't legislate against prejudice. Accept it as just part of human nature? No. No. Racism's here. It's going to be here forever. Yeah, but I won't accept it. I will not accept racism. I will try to understand that particular case of racism and try to address that. But racism will never end. Sometimes it's called prejudice. Actually, it's always called prejudice, but sometimes it's prejudice against a race or a religion or a gender or a fucking person that had 9 toes for a little bit, but got one stable back on. It might be a little crooked, but don't stare at it. You know, I got a lot of scars. Don't judge me. Floor model TV sets were just fuck you, racist. Ugh. But yeah, it's a statement that I would have heard as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, and a young parent, and go, absolutely. But I mean, if you use the word Allah and Jehovah alongside God, you'd got canceled now super fast. You say it then, and a certain group of people are like, oh, shut them down. And the media's like, poorly worded statements. But he comes back with hatred is not the norm. And it's not. Not even today. Prejudice is not the norm. It is the norm today. It's always been the norm. We always act with prejudice. That is why we always say, you know what? He is great. Now, he is whatever statement, but don't hold that against him because he's awesome. No, we all like to say, no, that is me saying, I don't judge him for being that. No, that is you celebrating that you accepted him and celebrate him and want to use him as something to prove that the prejudice against that group is wrong. Now, I've done it. I will do it again. There is nothing wrong with that. Just be honest. Prejudice is the norm. Be a white kid on a show up to an all black football team and you can run a 4.24 40-meter dash. And the coach is like, yeah, with that speed, you could be a defensive tackle. You could be you should be the nose tackle. It'll help with blitzing. Five foot 9, 105 pounds. Nose tackle. Okay. Now, I know why. Coach knew why. All the players knew why. Now, several players were very open, like, hey, I think you might be the fastest one here. You might be the fastest kid on the team. Oh no, what about him? You two pretty close. What about him? Oh no. You're second fastest for sure. You might be the fastest. Oh, thank you. That's cool. Uh, I'm pretty good at running routes. You think I might be able to play the position I've always played and that I'm really good at? Oh no, it ain't gonna happen. You know how it is. No, I don't. Oh, I mean, just here, you the girl. Okay, yeah, I get that. All right. Yes, I'm the white kid, but yeah, I mean, playing the position. Nah, damn, that sucks. Now, is that racist? It's prejudice. Um, I don't know that the coach was racist. What he did was racist, but a good amount of that was if he puts a white kid as a starter, everybody's going to say, oh, he's starting because he's white. And why deal with that fucking drama? You got what, 3 white kids on a fucking team of 50, I'm sorry, 48? Yeah. Start the kicker. I mean, he's not even really on the team. He's on the soccer team. He just comes for games. So yeah, start that white kid. That's fine. Uh, you got a very, he was a very large gentleman and very athletic. And he took his life in his mid 20s because his weight had caused some social issues. And that sucks. And then me. Yeah, I can start at the slow, fat white boy job, but you put me at what I'm best at, everyone's going to get pissed in that place. So, the response from that, and I know my fucking overly hydrated on spicy water self, hatred is not the norm. Prejudice is not the norm. Suspicion is like jealousy, scapegoating. And yeah, that's right. To the side topic. None of these is the transcendent facet of the human personality. They're the diseases. They're the cancers of the soul. They are the infectious and contagious viruses that have bled humanity over the years. But because they have been and are, is it necessary that they shall be? I think not. There is one voice left to say welcome to a stranger. And there's but one hand outstretched to say, enter and share. If there's but one mind remaining to think a thought of warmth and friendship, then there is also a future in which we will find more than one hand, more than one voice, and more than one mind dedicated to equality. Wishful, hopeful, unassured, problematic, and not to be guaranteed. This is true. But again, on this spring evening of 1964, a little man's awareness has shown itself. A little of his essential decency, his basic goodness, his preeminent dignity has been made a matter of record. There will be moments of violence and expressions of hatred and an ugly re-echo of intolerance. But these are the clinging vestiges of a decayed past, not the harbingers of the better, cleaner future. To those who tell us that the inequality of human animal is the necessary evil, we must respond by simply saying that first, it is evil. Evil is wrong. But second, it is not necessary. We prove it. Sitting here tonight, we prove it by reaffirming our faith. We prove it by having faith in our reaffirmations. Horace Mann said, be ashamed to die until you've won some victory for humanity. Horace Mann. Let us paraphrase that tonight. Let us be ashamed to live without that victory. Oh, man. I mean, that is a beautiful statement. And while I have some very, very real disagreements on the extent of how far the government can reach in, I abhor and I detest the government attacking us, people. And anytime the government tries to argue, well, it's only them because, I challenge it. I question it. It's all shit, man. Like, I don't dig it, but Sorry, having a slight technical issue. All right. So we are going to end this with an awesome thing. And while I do this, while we rock out with our cocks out to this, just remember, do what you gotta do. Be who you gotta be. And that's all good. But you gotta remember what your biases are, not just with people or race or religion or any of that. I mean, I don't swim because of my particular quirks. My father will not eat pizza from a particular place because of his prejudice. Like, it's not wrong to be prejudiced. It's wrong to allow your prejudice to make you a racist or an asshole or a bigot in some way. Prejudice is human nature. Identify it, acknowledge it, and then it's not gonna fucking allow you to be one of those.
Go, baby, baby. Go, baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? There's something wasn't right here. Go, baby, baby. I shouldn't have let you go. And now you're out of sight. Yeah, I feel me how you want it to be. Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now. Oh, because loneliness is killing me.
And I
still
believe
that I'm not with you by the time. Give me a sign.
hit me, baby, one more time.
The reason I breathe is you.
We know.
Boy, you got me blinded. So pretty, baby. There's nothing I wouldn't do. It's not the way I planned it. Show me how
want it to be. Tell me, baby, 'cause I need to know now.
My loneliness is killing me.
And I
I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, baby, baby. How was I supposed to know? Oh, baby, I should have let you go. My loneliness is killing me. Don't you know I still believe.
give me a sign one more time.
I must confess.
That was one of the first times I did the air conditioner's dripping again. That was one of the first times I did the let me do a really embarrassing song. Now man, that was so many years ago. After that, I did that song. What? 73 to 77 more times. Not sure how many times I had to make a booze run. Didn't get that third song in. But I always, when someone's like, I don't know, I don't think I can do karaoke. I'm not a good singer. It ain't about being a good singer. It's about you just fucking spilling your fucking vulnerabilities and bullshit and just letting loose. And I came up with that as the song to look like a fool. Absolute fucking idiot. And then afterwards go, hey, it's impossible for you to look dumber than me. And young people go, I'm scared. Well, yeah. Of course you're scared. You're getting in front of people. But what are you scared of? Locking up, freezing up, going quiet? I promise you, most of the audience wanted me to go quiet for that song. Looking dumb? Can't look more dumb than me. Oh, I mean, I'm too scared. Yes, you're too scared. Not gonna get hurt. The worst thing someone might say is, you're almost as bad as that piece of shit. But hey, you don't have to do it. You don't want to sing? No harm, no foul. But I think you should. Hell, you want to duet? You pick a song, I'll do it right before you. Then you can walk in and be the boring, not as bad as, or you can walk and be like, that dude's so scared and nervous, but he's pretty cool. Or, wow, that guy is nervous and awkward and he sucks. He's not nearly as bad as Doc is, but damn. Take some balls to get up there and suck like that. Although sucking balls like that, more challenging. Yeah, that is a horribly embarrassing, humiliating version of that song that I do. Not the worst. Pretty fucking bad though. And my boy Danny, love you, Danny. The council removed me from my position running that place. Not because of Danny. Because I wasn't a politician. I wasn't. I wasn't going to tolerate. I never asked permission to hire my boy. Actually, that's a little misleading. He wasn't my boy. In fact, I'm going to do a little video clip to send. In fact, I actually had never met this kid, right? The best man, the greatest motherfucker, OJ, badass motherfucker, was like, hey, you keep talking about karaoke. I got a guy that does karaoke. All right. Oh, yeah. He's really good. All right. Do you think I should hire him? I vouch for him. All right, cool. Tell him he's hired. Well, I gotta say, I'll let you know. All right. Fuck. How much does he want? No, not that. I'm gonna pay for it. I will pay his bill for the first however many months. Oh. Well then yeah, tell him he's hired. Right. I mean, I just gotta let you know beforehand. Okay. I can afford him. You vouch for him. Little concerned here, but all right. And OJ's like, he's gay. Okay. And what? He's gay. And he has a husband of the time 15 years. He has a husband of 15 years. Okay. Gotcha. And people aren't gonna like it. Okay. Why do I care? No, just saying. Yeah. Cool. Don't give a shit. And then several years later, well, I don't know, a year or two later, motherfucker comes at me and goes, hey, there's some issues and people are saying some things. About the DJ being gay. And they're worried that people are going to think it's a gay bar. Now, I could have been a politician and respond with, well, this is the numbers, this is the business coming in, and this is the age group. I mean, we got people in their 80s, people in their 60s, people in their 40s, and everyone pretty much comes up with either, you know what, he might be gay, but he's pretty cool. And then part of the crowd is like, you know what, they might be right wing, but they're okay. Could have said that, should have said that. Instead, I responded with, what? That is a bullshit lie. You tell them they are liars. My DJ is not gay. His husband of 17 years is a little gay. But my DJ is not gay. So people worked out the timing when there was an event going on and again fired my ass. Didn't last a month. There is no bar. It's an empty building. They even sold off the pool tables to try to make rent. It's bullshit. Sucks. And a good amount of that. I mean, let's be honest. A good amount of that is my fault. Rather than play bullshit games and try to justify yes, I was being loyal. I was also being stubborn. And those are both things that I am known for. My biggest flaw is I am too protective. I reacted emotional. The attacks on my boy's husband, or is the husband of my boy. The other one's my boy's husband. You know what? I love them both. They're both family. My parents and my siblings consider them family. So they're both my boys. I am both my boys' husbands. Although, if I gotta pick a favorite, I hate Leonard Skinner. That settles it. Yeah, this stream's gone on too long. I'm gonna end. I am so proud of losing. I am so proud of losing the thing that I cherished and put so much energy into. Just because I'm a stubborn asshole. Alright, I'm not gonna bullshit the last 6 minutes, 30, 29, 28, 27 seconds. I'm gonna say you gotta be you. But that cost a price. You gotta do what you gotta do. But that means sacrificing. You gotta find the balance. And I hope that you are able to make decisions and have luck so that you can be you more and more and do what you got to do less and less. Check out Dave Chappelle's When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong, or whatever it is. Get these motherfuckers that are old as fuck like me and go, yeah, I walk away from this. Congratulations. You're old. You got that shit together. Would you have done that when you were 20? Hell yeah. All right. You're lying, most likely. Could you have? All right, figure it. Exactly. Work towards my advice. Work towards being able to. I'm sorry. I gotta be me. More and less. I gotta do what I gotta do. We will always be fighting that battle. We will also always lose. But work towards. I gotta be me. And can deal with the punishment. So that you don't have to be as much. I gotta do what I gotta do. Alright, I love you. I wish the best for you. And seriously, the absolute most important thing to say, like, I'll give you a moment. Go ahead and go and get a notebook and paper, because this is gonna be life-changing. You absolutely fucking have to have this recorded. The most important thing ever in your life. All right. So, what you have to do is simply